Hello, and welcome to Morning Call for Monday, the 7th of October 2019. I'm Fab from Hamburg, and I'm not dead. Yeah. I have to explain why I fell off the earth here for a bit. I guess almost a month. Life just happened. I just had a lot to do work-wise, and on top of that, we also had a rather unfortunate situation with a friend of ours who, needed a bit of emotional support, let's say that. And it's just I had people visiting, so I couldn't do stuff in the morning, and it just all came together. But it looks like things are slowly going back to normal here. Um, Good morning, Johan. So I should be back to doing shows on a regular, semi-regular basis. Still got a lot of work stuff to do, but it's getting better. My God, this mouse pad is horribly dirty. Just don't mind that. Yes, Alifa, that's the real Starbucks cup I liberated from a Starbucks. I think in Vienna when I was a student. When you didn't have any money for cups. You should did the same. Yeah, I love those. All the newer Starbucks cups are shit, but these are amazing. They're great. They just last for ages. Obviously very big. Anyway, let's get into talking a bit of tech news, because I guess that's why you are here, and I apologize again for just leaving you in the lurch there for a while. Yes, I liberated that cup, just like the Americans liberating all the oil. So what do we got today? We've got there is a, if you haven't heard, there's a 0-day in Android that Google knows about, and Google will be fixing with the security update for Android in October. So the one that should be out any day now. It'll fix this vulnerability in the Pixel phones. Of course, if you have any other Android phones, it's really hard to tell when those patches arrive at your phone. That's down to your phone manufacturer. This is a real low-level thing. It's a use after free bug in the Android binder driver, which could be exploited by a local app to elevate privileges. And this is one of the ones I guess Google can't fix. I mean, they re-architected Android quite a lot, so they can fix a lot without relying on the manufacturer for updates, and just doing that through the Play services. But they can't do this on this one. So basically, how it works is whenever they need to fix something that's works with the underlying hardware, this is all manufacturer specific, so Google can't roll out a fix to Android because that stuff is like, they give Android to a phone manufacturer, and then they do all the drivers and stuff, and if it interfaces with that, then the manufacturer basically has to fix it. This specific vulnerability is being exploited in the wild. There are reports this is being used by the Israeli security company, let's put that in air quotes, security company, NSO Group, which is a very well-known, basically seller of spyware. They sell intelligence solutions to democratic governments, which then use that to spy on their on people. They're the ones. So last year there was the story about them spying on a emir in Saudi Arabia and a journalist in London who was also dealing with the Middle East and stuff like that. Now, let me point out, NSO Group has said, talking to the register here, NSO did not sell and will never sell exploits or vulnerabilities, the spokesperson said. This exploit has nothing to do with NSO. Yeah, sure. Our work is focused on the development of products designed to help licensed intelligence and law enforcement agencies save lives. Yes, of course. They're saving lives and they're all licensed. What's a licensed intelligence law enforcement? They don't know how intelligence agencies works, do they? Licensed? Does the BND have a license to spy? Is it like a license to kill? Is that how it works? Do they have like a diploma on the wall? Hereby, the Chancellor of the Republic of Germany grants you the exclusive license to spy on its citizens. I don't know. This is, yeah. I'm not buying anything they're saying. Just by the nature of the business they're in, they are probably lying. No, of course they're not lying. They are protecting the truth from us, which is all for our own good and serves to save lives. TM. Speaking of vulnerabilities in software, there is apparently a vulnerability in Signal for Android, so the end-to-end encrypted messenger that allows, I think it's only on Android, allows an attacker to basically call you without you knowing, which could then be used to spy on people. Of course, only audio because the video call is disabled by default. Using a modified client, it is possible to send the connector message to a callee device. Callee? Is that even a word? When an incoming call is in progress, it has not yet been accepted by the user. This is one VoIP or communications apps quite often have errors like this. This was discovered by Google's Project Zero, and it's been fixed in the latest update. So make sure you have version 4.47.7 of Signal. This was reported by the Next Web. They're saying the eavesdropping flaw would have been an issue on the iOS version of Signal 2 if it wasn't for an error in the user interface that prevented the call from being completed. As it stands, the flaw can't be exploited on iOS. I guess we were the lucky ones because we have more bugs. So good to know. Big story today. Yesterday or over the weekend or whatever. Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming to the PC in November, which is about a year. It's a bit more than a year after it came out for consoles, which vindicates me. I had said it would last less than a year, which is close but no cigar. But I kind of guessed it correctly, unlike some of my colleagues back at my previous workplace who were saying, "Oh, it's not sure it's ever coming to PC, Red Dead Redemption 1." And I always thought that was bullshit because my conviction from the beginning, which I think I'm on record actually on videos as saying, is that this is just a legal requirement because of their exclusivity deals, obviously. Because, it makes no sense. There's no porting involved. This is not the Red Dead Redemption 1 era where you actually need to, port from the PlayStation or the Xbox to the PC. They're both basically PCs. The Xbox pretty clearly these days actually is a PC. I think this is, with it being a year, I think horseback riding simulator, says Oliver. Pretty much, yeah. I think it's just this is clearly just a licensing thing. And I think they made it a year and a month or something, so it wouldn't be that obvious, but it's blatantly obvious. It's also interesting that, of course, it's not coming to the to Steam in November. It's coming to Steam in December and to all other platforms in November, like the Epic Store. I think that's another exclusivity deal or something. They want to piss off Steam because I guess people don't want to wait that month because hype on the internet. Yeah, I've given up my game store thing, my rant thing there. I'm just gonna buy it on whatever store. I use a great application I can only recommend called Play Night, which is an open source application that just puts all your games from several stores into one library, and I just use that, and it's awesome. So I don't care what store it's in. I do care that it's on the PC. I think it's stupid that they have these exclusivity deals, but hey, I don't. I was also not hurt by having played this the last year. I will get this in November, and for me it'll be a new game, and I'll have a lot of fun. I don't care that most of the people have played it already. I don't, I did have some colleagues last year who I think pretty much bought a PlayStation just for that game. And as always, like three weeks later, they're not even playing Red Dead Redemption 2 anymore. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to playing this. Still bugs me that he's wearing a leather hat. By the way, I mean they spent so much fucking time on that outfit of the main character, obviously, and like they couldn't have given him a proper beaver felt hat. Like, what's going on there? And there's definitely other people in that game who where their hat is actually felt, where it's obviously a felt texture. You can get one in game. I know I've played the game, but the problem is this game has this thing where you have another hat, and your original hat magically keeps returning. Like, when somebody knocks your other hat off, it's like, I think, yeah, it always goes back pretty much at some point to the original hat. And even though it's just like it's not like that it's a fashion choice, I could live with that. It's just like it's historically wrong. Like it's just, I mean, okay, it's not a historical game, I know, but it's like, why would you get that? You obviously care about Western movies. Like you obviously care about this shit. Why did you do that? Like, was that who didn't pay attention there? It's like, it just bugs the fuck out of me. Anyway, Iran has been spying on people. Microsoft is saying they've detected 2,700 attempts to hack into 241 different Office 365 email accounts in the last few months. I think only 4 were breached. What they're saying. So these accounts are associated with a U.S. presidential campaign. So, not saying which one. Is Hillary running already? No, it can't be Hillary, so it's probably Biden. Or maybe Trump. Current and former U.S. government officials, journalists covering global politics, and prominent Iranians living outside Iran. Only 4 of the 241 accounts were compromised. It's all like script kiddie hacking as well. It's not like hacking. It's basically that this is a very long story on the register. It sounds like they're trying to guess the passwords, or they're basically getting information from other accounts. I think they're actually saying here it's not technically sophisticated. For example, I would seek access to a secondary email account, link to user's Microsoft account, then attempt to gain access to the user's Microsoft account through verification sent to the secondary account. So they obviously hacked the secondary account first. So I think it's just weak passwords if they get in. But the thing is, like if you're a journalist and you're covering political affairs, why are you using Microsoft Office 365? Like, seriously? Seriously? I mean, I'm not saying if you used your own mail server or whatever, it would be more secure, but because obviously it's not, because they hacked those as well. It's like, it's down to your password, right? But you should have a good password. But then we all have shitty passwords in places. But like, why are you using Microsoft's email account? Why are you doing that? I mean, what? Who are these people? Okay, Microsoft presidential campaigns. We know that they're idiots. I mean, can we talk about Hillary's email server? I mean, clearly they don't know what they're doing. But God. Speaking of the U.S. government, this comes up every few months or years, and we have to push back. So I'm pushing back again. And the register's pushing back, of course. The U.S. government is now again saying, "Hey, give us access to all your do not use end-to-end encrypted communications. Hey, tech companies, please let us in." They actually had a thing called Lawful Access Summit. I love how they call that, like, lawful access, right? It's fucking spying. I also like the terms they're couching this in. So they're like, okay, don't use end-to-end encryption. Outside the digital world, none of us would accept the proposition that grown-ups should be permitted to mingle in closed rooms with children they don't know in order to groom them for sexual exploitation, offered U.S. Deputy Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen. Neither would we accept the idea that a person should be allowed to keep a hoard of child sexual abuse material. It's child porn argument again. They got nothing better about the scrutiny of the justice system, blah, 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 blah. Like, seriously, the child porn argument. Also, it's like, yeah, what kind of a strawman argument is that? So he's the U.S. Deputy Attorney General, so he can't be an idiot. He's clearly intelligent. So I think this guy knows that he's talking bullshit, but he's trying to, like, he's a lawyer, so he's trying to wave the cloth in front of people's eyes and just distract them. Yes, no, we would not accept that outside the digital world. Also, outside the digital world, we would not accept the government looking at everything we do, at every aspect. Like, would you accept a U.S. government official standing behind you and looking over everything you do 24/7? Like, you're in the bedroom having sex. There's just like this friendly G-man in the corner observing. Like, would you accept that proposition? No. So why should we, in the digital space, accept the proposition that the government can look into all the communications we have with somebody? Because that is exactly what they want. God. Idiots, but they keep trying, and since apparently population, if you look at people talking on the internet, are getting dumber by the minute, it can only be moments until they're successful. They're probably successful the next time they're gonna ask for this, because people don't care. It's just like, I don't get it. It's like the fucking Trump thing where they're like, oh, he did this and that and this. No, he didn't do that. Have you read the transcript? It's out there. Just read the fucking transcript. No, can't. Got no time for that. Got to read what the press says, and the press is often wrong. I'm part of it. I know. Don't trust people. Read up on things. Anyway, let's go back to happier topics. Sony has opened up they have this cross-platform thing that was in beta that Fortnite could use, and some other developers to basically facilitate playing between the PS4 and PC versions, or even Xbox versions, I guess. And every developer can use this now. It's interesting because Sony, for the longest time, was reluctant. Like Microsoft, they're like really reluctant about this. They had like lots of shitty strawman arguments, like child protection or whatever, that you couldn't have cross-platform gaming with the PC, which is, all of this is clearly bullshit. I strongly believe they did not allow this for the same reason that they're always very reluctant to let you put like a mouse and keyboard on the console, which has been technically. I mean, there's just normal operating systems in there, right? I don't know what the PS4 is running, but for long, PS3 clearly was running like this free BSD version. It's like it's some version of BSD. You could boot Linux on it for a while, and you obviously that it has USB ports. You could plug in a keyboard and mouse, which would work, but they didn't want that. And I think it's all the same reason. It's basically they do not want PC gamers, especially in shooters, to play against console gamers, because the console gamer can't plug in a mouse and keyboard, and the PC guys will just kill them. It's not as bad with something like Fortnite, which doesn't have pixel perfect aiming. Basically, it has this bloom aiming system where you, even if you play it with mouse and PC, you just point in a general direction, and then you shoot, and it just rolls the dice if you've hit or not, because that's just much easier to do in an online shooter. Other games that do this differently, like PUBG, where you actually have pixel perfect aiming and shooting, always have had problems with network lag, where like your client thinks you've shot the guy, but on his system he's already moved, and then it's just this is why Fortnite, which also can afford it because it's more of a cartoonish game, did it that way. So I guess they can do crossplay as well, because playing with a controller is just not it's not so much of a downside. But I think that's the thing why they're doing this. So I'll be interested to see how this works. I mean, they're saying here, over the last 12 months, games such as Rocket League, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Dauntless, Paladin, Smite, and Realm Royale have enabled PS4 crossplay with other consoles. So that's what they're doing. Final Fantasy 14 and Street Fighter 5 lets you play with PC gamers. I think we should just open it up. Let the good God Darwin sort it out. Just open it up, let everybody play, and then, the PC game, the console gamers will just die because we have better peripherals. It all comes down to the peripherals. Here's some nice thing. I thought this was hilarious. So there's some researchers did a very stupid, in my eyes, very stupid study. So they looked at code on GitHub and code on Stack Overflow, and unsurprisingly, there's lots of vulnerable code on Stack Overflow, and then the same code ends up on GitHub. So Stack Overflow, obviously, people ask programming questions or just post solutions to programming questions, and then people just copy and paste the code into their project, and then it ends up on GitHub, of course. And then basically there's also a very long thing on the register, but it all gets summed up with like, this is shit, because it obviously degrades code quality, right? But basically they're saying, well, this is, people should not just copy and paste code from Stack Overflow. They should check it, which, yes, is true, but obviously people are taking this from Stack Overflow because they can't do it themselves, so they can't check it. So somebody else would need to check it in the project or in the company, whatever, and often this is just not happening because obviously programmers notoriously overworked like everybody else, and I don't know. I just don't subscribe to this theory that Stack Exchange makes code worse, because if you imagine somebody who doesn't know how to write something or doesn't has no experience in it, going to Stack Overflow and taking code there. I mean, just imagine that guy not doing that and writing his own code. Like, would that be better? No. So I don't think this has anything to do with Stack Overflow or with copy or pasting code. This has more to do with quality control of code in projects or companies. You should have more people looking over your code. But that's a real problem. But of course, that's not changing because people are, companies would have to hire more people, which costs more money, which they're not doing. And, it's the whole philosophy. Well, it works, it works. And the fact is, the security vulnerabilities that are in that code might work, but you only figure that out like 3 years later when your company gets hacked and you have millions of dollars in damages, but nobody's like connecting that back to, this is because we don't do enough code review and we don't have enough programmers. We should really hire more. Last story for today, I was talking early in the year about Brexit and the EU domains. And, basically the EU wants to take .eu domains away from UK citizens as soon as Brexit happens, and it's a shambles. Nobody knows what's going on. It's just hilarious. There's like deadlines that are in the past, and the Register has a great story entitled "Boris Brexit Bluff Binds EU Domains to Time-Bending Itinerary" with a nice DeLorean here. As the teaser image, and it's I won't go into this. You can see how long this story is. It's hilarious. The whole thing is just like they have rules and then they make new rules, and obviously it's all not working because everything's in shambles. And like obviously this can't ever be like the process of taking these domains away from these UK people can obviously never be anything than chaos, because Brexit itself is absolute chaos. So this has to deal with Brexit. So how can they ever have like a date or whatever? It's just it's hilariously bad. I find it kind of bad that they're taking these domains away, because usually when we don't do that on the internet, we historically haven't enforced this. Okay, you can't get a mil domain, but I have a .org domain, and like for a podcast network, it's that an organization. Is that what .org was originally meant for? All these esports companies using GG domain as TLDs. They're not from Guernsey. Anyway, this is. On the other hand, I find it a little bit hilarious that I mean. The whole Brexit thing is so bad that obviously the UK should be punished for it, and I actually feel the EU is not actually punishing anybody. They're not doing really. They could be a lot more strict with all the stuff. They could try to punish them a lot more, and now they're doing a little bit on the sidelines with these domains, which I actually find funny. I'll tell you again. This is why. This is why you should never have a referendum about anything. There's a reason why we have a representative democracy, and Brexit explains it very well. Order! Well, yes, okay. Back to order. Anyway, that's it. That's it for me for today. Anyway, I think I'll be back tomorrow with some more tech news. I should be back tomorrow. It's just workload, but in crunch mode at the moment. I'm writing a lot of stories and stuff, and as it goes, at least I can't complain that I do not have enough work. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're having a good start into the week, and you're being very efficient, and and hopefully happy at work. Although I know that's not normal. But if you're not, then just Just think about the fact that it's only like 4 days and a bit to go till it's Friday again. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow with more tech news. Until then, hang in there. Goodbye.